What Ray Oldenburg forgot about when discussing the third place was to highlight the arguably more important zeroth place in every developer's life, the terminal. The zeroth place is the most important because it overlaps with the other three places regularly. Whether you are at home, at work, or at the coffee shop, you can easily find yourself spending hours in the terminal. For that reason, the terminal is a deeply personal entity. It can be made as normal or autistic as you like, specifically to match the user. These are the 7 tools I need to feel at home in the terminal. Some of these are very common, while others, and one in particular, is super underrated, to the point where I'm not sure how other people can manage multiple projects in a single terminal without it. Here is my terminal configuration, in the order that makes the most sense in terms of dependencies. WezTerm. I first started using WezTerm because I really like ligatures, and at the time I couldn't find any other terminal emulator that implemented them correctly. Since then, I've never had a reason to switch. It's fast, simple, runs everywhere, and it has easy configuration done in Lua. Anytime I consider using anything else, I quickly run into some weird edge case and just default back to what works. My config is at most 16 lines of code, and it does absolutely everything I need. I particularly like the window decoration options that let me run without a top bar on macOS. I think this project is criminally underrated. It's one of the tools I use the most, but I often forget it's there just because it works so consistently. Fish. Sadly, the same has not always been true for my shell of choice. Historically, Fish has not played nice with other shell script utilities like pyenv and nvm. Over the years, it's garnered enough popularity that these utilities now have options specifically for Fish, but even when they didn't, it was still worth using. The 3 features I enjoy the most are the syntax highlighting, autocomplete, and the scoped options for environment variables. I don't use Starship anymore because I use a very minimal prompt. It's actually so minimal I could be considered a sociopath. My prompt gives me absolutely no information about where I am or what I'm doing. This will make a little more sense once we get to the session management, but honestly, it's usually not a bother. I really like the minimalistic blank canvas when I write commands. Neovim. Neovim is always the first CLI tool I install. It's my favorite text editor, period. It's lightweight, customizable, and portable. But even if I didn't use it as my primary text editor, it would probably still be the first tool I install. Modern operating systems come with all the tools you need to navigate and rearrange files straight from the CLI, but editing them without Neovim is always a bit of a pain. I used to have a minimal setup that was perfectly tailored to me, but I hated having to configure the debugger myself. It was barely functional and needed constant attention. I think that a debugger might be the most important auxiliary tool for a developer. I would probably pick a debugger over an LSP. It can just save you so much time. For that reason, I switched to LazyVim. The debugger just works, has really nice key bindings, and it's easy to add support for new languages. LazyGit. LazyGit is as close to the perfect Git UI as you can get, in my opinion. It makes common things like merge conflicts, cherry picking, amending, and bisects a breeze. It's by far my favorite TUI, and I don't think I would enjoy working with Git half as much if I couldn't lean on LazyGit to do the operations that are just better suited for an interface. Here's a brief overview. You have files here, branches here, and commits here. You can use Vim motions to navigate between them all, and there are a bunch of commands to do whatever you want with Git. All you need to know to get started is that you can press question mark to get a list of the commands that are currently available. The basic workflow is that you press A to stage, C to commit, and then P to push. You can easily stage individual files or even specific sections of files before committing. Tmux, Sesh, and Zoxide. I need to talk about the next 3 tools together, because they only work as a cohesive unit, and they form the core of my workflow when I am in the terminal. The first one we have to talk about is Zoxide, which markets itself as a smarter CD command. It basically just keeps a cache of the folders you visit frequently. It's nice sometimes since you can CD into something using just part of the path instead of the whole thing, but I don't really care about Zoxide that much. I do care about maintaining the cache so that I can use it in other programs though. The Unix philosophy is to do one thing and to do it well. Well, Tmux does many things, and I don't think I even use it for the thing it was originally intended to be used for, but I haven't found anything better. Tmux's role in my configuration is to run multiple sessions in one terminal window. You can create a workspace and then manage multiple windows within those workspaces. which makes it possible to manage many projects from a single terminal window. It lets me switch between different projects very quickly and efficiently, thanks to another tool called Sesh. Sesh uses the cache created by Zoxide and creates a dedicated Tmux workspace for a folder using a TUI. For example, if I want to work on a project, I hit the keybind to open Sesh, which will list all the workspaces currently open and all the folders I've ever visited according to Zoxide. I can search and select a folder which will either create a new or open the existing Tmux workspace for that specific folder. Once I'm inside the workspace, any new windows I create are already scoped to the current folder, which is why I don't really need my prompt to tell me where I am. I also have keybinds in Tmux that are pre-configured to open specific windows inside that workspace. For example, N creates a new or opens the existing window for Neovim, and G does the same thing for LazyGit. Tmux, Sesh, and Zoxide make working on many projects from within a single terminal a breeze, and I think Sesh in particular is very underrated. I probably would have given up on living entirely inside the terminal if it wasn't for it. It's just too confusing to know which project is currently open and where. And that's it. Those are the 7 essential tools I need to feel at home in the terminal. I'm sure most people are familiar with Neovim and LazyGit by now, but I doubt everyone will be well acquainted with Sesh. And despite its high star count on GitHub, I'm yet to encounter someone else using WezTerm in the wild. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. Thank you for watching.